Can commercials alter your memories? We all know that advertising has power. Why else would people spend $4 million just for a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl? But new research shows that advertising may even have the power to alter our memories. One of the first studies to look at this back in 1999 had people taste test 3 different types of orange juice, each rated in pre-testing as being poor, moderate, or sweet tasting. The best tasting juice was picked from a select sample of brand name 100% orange juice. The moderate taste sample was taken from orange juice concentrate. And to make the poor tasting sample, they took the orange juice concentrate and added some vinegar and salt. Participants were assigned to drink one of the 3 juices and 30 minutes later rate that juice in terms of sweetness and taste quality. During the rating process, participants were given as much time to describe the juice as they liked, but then were asked to describe the juice in just 3 words. Third-party judges then looked at these 3 words and gauged them in how positive or negative they are. And of course, these judges were blind to the conditions of the experiment. As you can see by the results, those who first watched the TV advertisement gave the juice better ratings across the board, being significantly more likely to use words like tasty, sweet, and refreshing. Even those who were given the tainted juice, which had been mixed with vinegar and salt, gave the juice 42% positive ratings, which was a whole 20% above those who never watched the TV spot. Across 3 replications of the study, the researchers found that not only did these advertisements have an immediate effect on positive attitudes towards the juice, but these more positive attitudes even lasted a week later. What's more, if a week separated the time from testing to rating the juice, the advertisement had an even bigger impact. In other words, our memories might be easier to change if we're trying to remember something that happened yesterday, the week before, the month before, or even longer ago. A more recent version of this experiment surveyed over 250 US Americans who had recently taken a trip to Mexico, at least within the past 3 years. They were all asked to describe their trip to Mexico, but beforehand, half of them were first exposed to an advertisement showing Mexico as a vacation hotspot. Here's an example of what they might have seen. Like in our past study, those who were just recently exposed to the pro-product advertisement, in this case an ad depicting Mexico as a vacation hotspot, were more likely to give positive ratings of their trip. And in fact, they were more likely to use words like enjoyable, fun, and exciting when describing their Mexican trip. They were also more likely to say that they would recommend vacations in Mexico to others, and that they would want to take a trip to Mexico again in the near future. Another study found that advertisements could even change people's memories of their own health and medication. In this study, they surveyed people who had been on a cholesterol-lowering medication for quite some time and surveyed them about their current satisfaction with that medication, such as, do you feel like this medication is helping you, and do you feel like you could have good health and good cholesterol without this medication? Then, several weeks later, half of them were exposed to a pro-medication advertisement talking about its cholesterol-lowering properties. In this case, participants weren't asked about their current attitudes after watching the advertisement, but were simply asked, please recall to the best of your ability what you put as your attitudes toward the medication before you saw this advertisement. Amazingly, this advertisement not only made them feel more positively toward their medication compared to control groups, but also made them misremember feeling more positively toward it several weeks earlier. In other words, this advertisement increased positive attitudes toward the medication, and these positive attitudes actually replaced older attitudes in memory. Something that's a bit disturbing about this study is that they found that participants who had watched the advertisement were more likely to agree to statements like, I don't think I could get along without this medication, and I don't think that diet and exercise are enough for me to maintain healthy cholesterol. So the ad not only made people feel more positively toward the medication, but made people feel more negatively about themselves, believing that they couldn't get along without the medication. A recent study that added an interesting twist to this looked at people's food preferences in their past. In this case, the study surveyed college students who were 21 and over about their food and drink preferences before age 20. They asked about many different foods and drinks, and one in particular was about white wine. In this survey response, participants could answer anywhere between that they loved to drink white wine before age 20 or that drinking white wine made them feel sick. Several weeks later, participants were invited back into the lab as part of a follow-up study. To remind them of their food preferences before age 20, they were each given a booklet summarizing their survey responses. All of these survey responses were correctly reported except for the one about white wine. In this case, half the participants received the reverse food preference. So for those who said that they loved drinking white wine before age 20, they now showed in the booklet that before age 20, drinking white wine made them feel sick. And the opposite was true for people who originally said that drinking white wine made them feel sick. While going through the booklet, participants were asked to conjure up a specific memory about this food preference that they had before age 20. In this case, they were asked next to each food item to write down either an M, indicating that they could conjure up a specific memory about the food preference, a B, indicating that they couldn't conjure up a specific memory about it, but believed it was true, or a P, indicating that they were positive the food preference wasn't true. Results showed that the false suggestion had a big impact. About 37% of the participants who had originally put down that white wine used to make them feel sick now put down that they believed that before age 20, they loved drinking white wine. 54% reported the opposite. Of those who originally said that they loved drinking white wine, they now said that they believed before age 20 that white wine made them feel sick. Now, to see how this would affect consumer choices, each participant, as a thank you gift after the experiment, was given a glass of white wine. In this case, all glasses were measured so that they included exactly 90 milliliters of liquid. After participants left, the experimenters took the glass and measured all remaining liquid to see how much people drank. In the control condition, where no false suggestion was given, you can see that those who reported that they loved to drink white wine did in fact drink more of it than those who said that white wine used to make them feel sick. However, in the false suggestion condition, you can see a strong opposite trend. So those who came into the study believing that white wine used to make them sick, if they just received the mere suggestion that they used to love drinking white wine, they drank significantly more of it than those who received the false suggestion that white wine used to make them feel sick. While this research didn't try to measure consumer purchases directly, you can imagine that if these participants later went to the supermarket, those who had just received the false suggestion that they used to love drinking white wine may be more likely to purchase it, especially compared to those who just received the false suggestion that white wine used to make them feel sick. Thankfully, all of the participants in this study were fully debriefed, so none of them walked away with a false suggestion. But it's easy to imagine how an advertisement could have a big impact on our memories of past product experiences. For example, beer commercials try to portray being intoxicated as an event where you're having fun, socializing, flirting with others, and all the while looking cool doing it. A really interesting example of this that might be trying to actively change our memories are advertisements by Disneyland parks. Not only do they try to portray the park as being the happiest place on earth, but clearly their advertisements are trying to play on our own nostalgia for those who have been to Disneyland as a kid. They show kids having a great time there, riding the rides, getting along with siblings, and having fun with mom and dad at the park. But if we were to relive our experience, for example, maybe a Labor Day vacation to Disneyland as a kid, we'd more likely remember the long lines, how outrageously hot it was, and the fact that we were probably bickering with mom and dad as well as our siblings. So in this way, the advertisement is not only hoping to make your attitudes more positive towards Disneyland, but probably also trying to reform your memories of past Disneyland experiences. Now, I think it's unlikely that people who make commercials and marketers are aware of this, and that they're actively trying to brainwash us or change our memories around. But memories are a very suggestible and tenable thing. They can be easily swayed by our current thoughts and emotions, and since they make us who we are, we should take great care to protect them. So the next time you see an ad, think carefully about what you're viewing and make sure it doesn't alter your memories.